everyone. Welcome back to Gamerbloo. This is Wadi, and I'm with Papa Dreas and Sun God.
Is it Sun God now? What happened to Sunchild? He leveled up?
I evolved.
I think the last one we did was 3 months ago?
I don't even think you were on the last one, Andreas. I feel like it was just me.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know you got it. Well, if I wasn't there, I didn't watch it. So
yeah, I think after that one, we was at Sun God's house.
oh
Yeah, that was the last one. Yeah, never mind. That was the last one, probably.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause this was like close to the end of She-Hulk. We never finished. We like talked about every episode of She-Hulk but the last one, which I guess shows our interest in that show. We did not review the last episode, but in summary, thumbs down with everything else. So moving on.
Yeah, that last She-Hulk episode, it was lame.
I mean, you remember when she broke into the writer's room? That was just like, oh my god, they just going for it.
I mean, it was unique. It was different. I mean, that's cool.
It's like we hear your concerns. We're gonna actually break into the writer room this episode because we hear your concerns.
But it's still just like random stuff that I like. I feel like with that show, it wasn't funny to me, so I felt like I just wasted my time. Also, like when they brought out like Hulk's son, Scar, he looked like such a pushover. It's like they just like ruined every version of Hulk.
That was like the end of that last Thor movie when Hercules came out. He looked like a fucking pushover to me. I was like, that's Hercules. He looks soft as shit.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. Just some
I'm
of these.
sure the next movie he'll look different, like more whatever.
Yeah, they'll change it. Like some of these variations of characters, they just don't look very intimidating. I mean,
especially like the male characters. They make the male characters these days very, very weak or very soft.
Or skinny.
Skinny, they demasculate them.
They're thin. They're frail.
So
frail. Yeah, frail Hercules, frail Hulk's son.
Frail Batman.
Oh yeah, Batman. Yeah, is like super thin. Like when you look at like I guess Michael Keaton's and Val Kilmer and George Clooney, their Batman weren't like big, but they weren't like as thin, I guess, as Robert Pattinson. Whereas like Ben Affleck, he was like old, like swole Batman, who you could like believe would actually beat you up.
But that Robert Pattinson, you know,
people like that movie. I mean, I didn't much care for
it. A lot of people like it.
It was decent.
It wasn't for me. I felt like it was much too long. Like
it was too long.
I thought it was going to end, but then there was a whole another act. Right after they caught that dude, it's like, oh man, this is still going. I mean, maybe the second one will be like interest me, but I'm not that into it. But I can see why some people would like it. It's not terrible.
It's something like you see on Netflix, though. You know, like a Netflix movie for Batman. Honestly, it does feel like a Netflix, you know.
Like as soon as you put like on Netflix, you're kind of like saying, this might not be that good, but it's okay enough.
All right, so Andreas, Papa Dreas, you played Forspoken, right?
Yes, I did. I have clocked in just about 20 hours to Forspoken.
So, what do you think of it?
It is an okay game. Like, I can solidly say it is an okay game. Like, that's kind of the best description of it, which is kind of what I've been seeing basically everywhere. What in general is like if you think of like a rating scale of like out of 10, whereas like 5 is like right in the middle, where there's just as much bad as good. Forspoken is probably like a 6 or a 7, where there's more good than bad. Like it's supposed to be like a AAA game, so you know, big budget, like kind of peak tier game. It's not at all. Like it's pretty jank, but like the graphics look pretty dated. I played on PS5. The graphics are pretty dated. Like I tried through all the different modes, like performance and quality and ray tracing. And game's kind of like not a great looking game. It looks like it should have came out like maybe on PS4, but it's been in development for like much too long. But I mean, the character like basically it's the type of game where the main character is just teleported from like whatever her normal life is to like mystical world. So like okay, so like, and then like as you go through it, like it explains like why this person was teleported and whatnot. So like all right, and just that she's such an unlikable character, like throughout basically the entire game. She's just like a foul-mouthed kid who's just like negative and mean-spirited. It's basically everyone, and there's like nothing really. I don't want to say redeemable, 'cause like at the end it's like okay, I guess, but she's just like an unlikable character. Like even on like a basic layer, she's not like relatable. Like whether you're male or female or them or they, she just doesn't feel like someone you would relate to or root for or even want to use. Because she's just so negative.
She look like a real, like I
She
don't
is a
know
real.
how to say
She
it,
is a real
like,
person. They used a real actress.
Yeah,
For her
I've
model.
Never seen, like, she doesn't even look like a video game character. She's
No,
like
she is a real person.
Yeah,
The best.
the way her face looks.
But like there are times when like her character model is terrible. It's like the graphics in the game are like so inconsistent, and then a lot of the townspeople like it's terrible looking. But one thing I will say about like the main character, her name's Frey Holland. So
yeah.
one thing I'll say is like the voice acting in that game is just mostly bad. Like even for the main character, I feel like they used like a traditional actress to play her, but she's not a voice actress, so she's not able to like, I guess, you know, as the name implies, act with her voice well enough for like the scenes that are playing, because like there's different skill sets when you're like, you know, a audio video actress and then a voice actress.
Yeah,
and she just doesn't.
Really sat in the room and just read lines.
She read lines and tried to like, I guess, act, but it just didn't convey the majority of the game to me. She just didn't feel like, I didn't feel the proper inflection and like the entire game from her. Whereas like she has like a little like a cufflink, which is like named Cuff, who's kind of like her tool, and that kind of helps her with magic and like talk to and all and stuff like that. Like his voice acting like felt proper. It felt like he kind of really knew what he was doing and how to convey all like the meanings of the words that he was given to use. So I just that didn't gel with me. And the open world's pretty barren. It's like basic stuff. Like it's big, but it's kind of a big open barren world that aren't like that different. It's pretty much a mountainous area, and then forest, mountainous area, and then what is this? And then yeah, so there you go. Forspoken gameplay. So you can see it's mountainous desert, and then kind of like mountainous forest, and then there's kind of fire mountainous. So it's like there just isn't that much like environmental diversity for me, and it just kind of didn't do it for me. And then getting to like the story, I mean it's okay. It just kind of gets you from point A to B, but it feels extremely rushed. Like if you were to do the main story, like quests of this game, I feel like we can be done in like 10 hours. Like I spent.
You beat the game though?
Huh?
You beat the game already?
Yeah, I finished the whole game. So.
So, like, yeah, spoilers. But I heard I never played. I just watched it.
I mean, I wouldn't really recommend playing it unless you can get it for like $20, $20 or $30, and it's a $70 game. So. I know. Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Real quick. Me sharing my screen froze my whole computer, so I'm gonna do a hard power down.
Alright, so I guess we
everything
will...
is frozen. I can just hear. Oh, never mind, it's back.
It's back? Well, I mean, we can see it, so...
Can't see.
Alright, stream's gone. But yeah,
okay, I see the screen now.
Yeah, I closed it.
Okay, I'm gonna close it too.
Oh, I can see it again, so yeah, you can bring it back up. You can just bring up like a random video of whatever, or a random image of the game.
Nah. Yeah. Is it gone? Screen sharing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not touching that again because it froze my whole computer for 10 seconds.
I probably should have done that and like talked about it, but
my computer could not handle that, and it wasn't even a video. It was still images.
It's just the Google images. Yeah, go ahead, Ryan. What were you saying?
So, from what I've seen, as far as the gameplay looked like you just can move around, like you like move fast. You can like
Parkour.
destroy like
Parkour is the buzzword.
Yeah, parkour. Like you fight like zombies and stuff like that. Very cliche.
I mean, it's not like. I mean, the game doesn't really take any chances or anything like that. But I mean, the magic system's pretty cool, except there are like 4 different like trees for the magic. You have fire, water, earth, and electricity. But you don't really, you get them like kind of spread out. Like I played a good amount of the game with only the earth skills, and then I was like, okay, I should stop doing this. I should stop like exploring the world because I only have one like tree of magic. So I was like, I stopped. I moved to the story, got the fire. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then after that, when I started following the story, it just kind of everything was so quick. Like you have to essentially beat like the boss to get their magic, and it's just that from knowing who the boss was to fighting them was so quick. Like they didn't establish like kind of the proper ethos of me seeing like why this boss is like important. It's more of they're telling me like this is a big boss and they did all these things which you don't see, so you need to attack her. So it's like the story felt very rushed.
Okay. So
magic system is cool. I would say magic's cool, but one tree is pretty lame. It's the water one. I feel like that's like the worst one in the whole game. Like it has the least useful skills and it's not that fun to use. Whereas electricity is awesome, earth is pretty good, fire is good too. It's just water is pretty lame.
Okay. So I heard the final boss is Cuff.
Yes, it is. The final boss is Cuff, who turns into like this non-faced angel demon thing, because it's always an angel demon, a golden angel demon. It's like, alright, so you beat him, but then he just goes back to her. She basically pulls him back and wears him as a tattoo cuff. So it's like
a tattoo cuff.
Yeah, instead of being a metallic cuff, I mean the plot twist was basically he was the big bad the whole time. Like that's the twist. So it's like, alright, once you find out, oh, he's the bad one, you fight him, and then right at the end, she just brings him back. It's like, you're with me now. Like, I don't know why. Because she actually doesn't need him. Whereas throughout the whole game, you thought she only had powers because of Cuff. She actually had it all on the inside. You know, deep inside in her heart, of course. So it's like, whatever.
And those the Tauntas,
those bosses. Those bosses.
Yeah. So they were like the good guys, basically.
They were good, but somehow they were corrupted and became evil.
Because of Cuff.
Yes, technically yes, because of Cuff. Okay. You find that out in the game too. Technically yes, it is because of Cuff. You don't know this. Like they were all good, and then suddenly they all just became evil. And because they became evil, they were just ruthless people. And then there's like this big infection that hit the land called the Break. And which just kind of changed the whole landscape of I guess the continents there. So would I recommend this game for like $30? Sure, because I think the magic's cool. Parkour is pretty fun, although it was a little jank for me sometimes. Like it didn't always work, and there were like some mountains that I felt like I should be able to climb but I couldn't. And also you don't, like for some games like this, you would, with the travel systems, like you would progressively get faster like as you get through the game, whereas with this game you kind of don't get faster. Like the speed that you run with is essentially the speed that you start with is essentially the speed that you end with. You don't really get like a lot faster. There's no like level 1, 2, or 3 of speed to do things faster. You just get more tools to kind of maybe jump to grab onto something or to like float down. So that's a little bit disappointing because I was kind of hoping like right at the end that I would be like a crazy freight train of like speed just kind of buzzing all over the place. Which that's really not what the game is.
Okay. Did you GameFly?
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't know GameFly still existed, man.
Yo, I've had a GameFly.
Since you said it.
I have been on and off GameFly for over 10 years. So that's how
old
GameFly is.
When you said it, I was like, wow, GameFly's still around? I thought everyone streams stuff now.
Yeah.
No, it's like, well, yeah, that's why I don't have like a streaming only console, because I use GameFly so much. Like, so much.
Yeah.
Like, I have Dead Space now, which I'm replaying, because that's a good game. And
yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people playing Dead Space now.
Dead Space was great when it came out. 1 and 2 were really good, like kind of like best in the genre. And then in December I played Callisto Protocol, which was made by the original, I think, director of Dead Space. So he got his own studio and made his kind of own rendition of Dead Space. Trash, absolute trash. Like, it is easily one of the worst games I played in recent memory. So I would not ever recommend anyone play Callisto Protocol. Like, they somehow managed to make the worst combat system in a game and kind of in recent memory, and it's supposed to be like, again, another AAA game. And like, it looks really good, but it's just, it plays so awful, and it's doesn't do anything new, and it's just, story's terrible. It's minimalistic and terrible. It's just like wasted potential all around. I mean, out of 10 for Callisto Protocol, I could easily get that game maybe like a 4 or 5. Like, no joke. It just, it does not play well. It's not fun. It's just a worse version of Dead Space. And they remade Dead Space, so you should play Dead Space in every single occasion if you even are interested in like the sci-fi, horror, like space genre.
Okay. I know this new game, like everyone is talking about now, the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy.
I actually just bought that today, and I just installed it, and I had just like run through the first 3 minutes of the game before I hopped on this call.
Okay.
I've been watching a lot of videos of it, and like everyone's like overwhelmingly like positive. Like, no one's saying it's like a perfect game, but everyone is like thoroughly enjoying it.
It looks good. It looks good.
Like, it's checking all the boxes. It's, again, another open world game, but I feel like an open world Harry Potter game kind of, it makes sense because it's, the Harry Potter world is huge, and like there's just a lot of
movies.
Yeah, I watched the movies, and then I read the books. I did not read the last book, The Cursed Child. Yeah, I read all the books.
We never seen a Harry Potter movie in theaters, so you all just did it on your own times back in the day?
Yes. Yeah, basically.
That's the only way I would have seen a Harry Potter movie.
I don't even remember who I saw them with.
I saw the first one back in high school. First one.
I didn't get into the Harry Potter movies until the fourth one, The Goblet of Fire, and then I didn't read any of the books until like middle of college, when I think the last book came out. Like, when the last book came out, that's when I started reading the books. So it's like I started right at the end. I was like, oh, I started reading it. I was like, I don't read. I barely can read. Then I did it. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And like, I thoroughly enjoyed the books. There's some books that I like more than others. Like, Prisoner of Azkaban book, pretty good. Order of Phoenix book was really good. The last few are pretty good. And then there are some movies that I prefer than the books, just because of how they were like cut. But I am a Harry Potter fan. I'm not a diehard fan. Like, I've never played a Harry Potter game. I never had the intentions to, but I bought this one and I'm going to play it. And this is fun.
The very first Harry Potter game, besides the Legos Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, there were like a bunch of random Harry Potter games that came out, but you know, those were all like movie tie-in trash. That's not worth it. Whereas this is like its own thing, not related to like the movie. It's not related to the books and movies. I think it takes place like early. Yeah, like early. So they're kind of doing their own things, which is for the best. So it'll stand on kind of its own two legs. But yeah, response is pretty good, and probably by the next time whenever we do this, I will have like a more thorough opinion of it. But looks pretty good.
Okay. You saw Black Panther 2, Andre?
I did see Black Panther 2. You know what? I quite enjoyed it. I didn't really care much for Black Panther 1, but Black Panther 2 was pretty cool. Like, I enjoyed it. I was like, I'm not a Black Panther fan, but like, it was kind of interesting to watch. I can't really put my finger on like what specifically about 2 I enjoyed more than 1. But maybe the tone was a bit more serious in 2 than 1, where 1 was kind of typical like Marvel kind of
Yeah.
action
the stakes
comedy.
Were higher in 2.
Yeah,
The
2 was
stakes
a
were
bit more
higher.
serious, and I guess less jokes. One thing I don't even know that I would say as a negative is like, I don't know, Riri kind of just felt unnecessary. Like she kind of felt completely like forced into the story. Like it could have just been like it could have just been like any scientist who like created the device to detect the vibranium underwater.
Yeah.
Like her scenes just were like unnecessary, but I can, it just felt like she was added in just to kind of segue into her own stuff later. I mean, I don't care.
That's one thing about the movie. Watching it that I didn't like was like with Riri and Namor trying to get her. I might not be remembering right, but he had a lot of opportunities to just kill her.
Oh like yeah,
when the Queen died. Remember when the Queen drowned and all that? He could have just got Riri right then and there. He was like talking behind the glass. I don't know what he was doing, but
he's like, I'm gonna drown them. He doesn't finish the job. He doesn't like.
Yeah,
he doesn't secure. He just like, I'm gonna drown them. Okay, and then he flies off. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It would have taken, but I mean, that's just super villain, you know, thinking if he got
like knocked out on the beltway or something, and they were fighting the first time. They were fighting his henchmen.
Yeah,
wasn't she like when knocked he captured out on the side of the road?
When he like captured I don't think he was there when they were captured. I think that was one of his like goons.
When his henchman was on the roadside fighting them, right?
Yeah, I don't think he was there.
He wasn't there, but she was just there passed out. I was like, go kill her. Why are you worried about the lady with the stick?
I don't know.
She was right there, just knocked out unconscious. Go get her.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, you can point holes into all that stuff because that's just kind of how they do things.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was fun to watch. It's cool seeing Killmonger again.
I wish he popped out.
Yeah, I mean, who else would have done it?
Yeah, what do you think about the flying of the ankles? Was it too much? He didn't need it, did he?
He's part of his character, so
I've never understood like how that works. Like even in like the comic book world, I've never understood how like those little wings give him flight. And also, how do they give you flight and also like in a way that would, for a person that has like crazy strength and durability, how would those little wings be able to like lift you up?
Yeah.
Powerful.
I mean, that's just the character in general. Like, so I was like, I'm just gonna. And why do you have like elf ears? But you know,
Ryan, you liked it?
I thought it was decent. I liked some of the fight scenes, like the one in the submarine, like the last scene. I thought that was pretty cool. Riri, the Ironheart lady, I think is like off and on with me. It's like sometimes she can be, you know, pretty cool, and other times she can be very annoying. I don't know if it's just her face or just the way she acts.
I think it's probably her character type. Her character type is supposed to be like hood from the streets, but genius. So she just like has that, the way that she talks, like her dialect is like, can be off-putting with like what she's trying to say too. And also she just seemed to be able to like fly in a suit just like immediately. With like, she managed to develop her own Iron Man suit all on her own, and then she could just fly and use it in battle, life or death battle, just right away.
I did not like that garage. She had all that stuff in her garage. Like, are you kidding me? That was not secure at all.
Yeah, I mean, it was just
she
like,
had some technology locking system, but I don't think she did it like a regular garage.
Like on like physical lock on the garage itself. I kind of don't.
But the computers were like, secured, but still.
Yeah, she's like, it took me
to get in there.
She talked about that, like, I got locked out on my own thing, and it took me forever to get into it.
Yeah.
Whereas, like,
they still can steal shit.
I'm about to say, the police swarmed them in like 30 seconds, so they could have just taken everything, the physical copies of everything, and just, I'm sure they would have cracked it eventually.
Yeah,
so,
crack it in 6 months.
Yeah. So yeah, that doesn't make any sense. And like the whole, oh my god. So, this is unrelated. So I guess this is after we finish that. I'll talk about 2 other movies that I saw that are ridiculous.
Yeah. One thing I didn't really. It was okay. You know the lady that moved to Haiti that had Black Panther's son.
Yeah.
I wasn't really feeling her going underwater doing all that. Like, she not built for this. Can she really go underneath the water and
get? Honestly, they didn't really have to have her in the movie. I think that
she was a big role for what she did, but I was like, is this really the person that's capable of this? Did she fight in the first movie?
I don't even remember. It's like when you think of it,
in the first movie, like she wasn't much.
From where they were to where, like, Namor's people live, that's so far down in the ocean, like so incredibly far down in the ocean. It's like for her to swim there using a little device to get there and back is just so unbelievable. Even in like the Marvel universe, it's like it's essentially she went basically from an island to the deepest point in the earth or into like the ocean, like the deepest.
It's crazy.
And that little device is like, all right.
With what suit?
With like just a basic suit, her little device. She snuck in that entire city.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Right.
I was like, it would have been better if they used Killmonger to do it in a way. You know what I mean?
Well, he's dead.
It was like her. I was like, yo, isn't she just a regular person? She can really hold this down right now.
Well, Killmonger's dead, so he can't do it.
He is dead. I forgot about that.
I think they're gonna bring him back probably.
Black Panther 3,
multiverse
Killmonger strikes back. Billmonger.
Yeah. I can see him doing something like that to bring him back, and probably bring another Black Panther back. I don't know who's gonna be the actor for it, but I can see him doing that in the future.
Yeah, because they planted his son.
But I mean, that's just so far away from anything that matters with his son.
Yeah, that's gonna be at least another good 12 years.
If they're gonna do Black Panther 3, they can always say 20 years later. You know.
That's true.
But they'll have like.
They can always.
It'll be weird because it'll have to like be its own thing. Because like there will be no other character.
Start over and just pretend like it's his son.
I don't know if the desire for Black Panther will like translate to that.
You already see the storyline. He probably doesn't even want the throne. He wants to live a regular life. Blah blah blah. He's forced to battle. That'll be the storyline, of course.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm sure someone will make a Black Panther 3. I just don't know what it will be about. I feel like 2 had like a huge push because of like Chadwick's death. So with 3, it's like what story would they tell that anyone would care about? That's not like they're not setting anything up.
It'll have to be it'll have to be like a real good story that it can't just be a regular action hero movie like another day in the life type movie.
Yeah,
they gotta be like, and the stakes were high in this one. I mean, the queen got killed. I mean, it was a lot going on.
She got an award. Angela Bassett got an award.
Yeah, she did.
For her performance in Black Panther. So I can't really think of that many different comic book characters in movies where the actress received an award for it. So that's really good.
I got 6 minutes. Real quick, AMC's charging for the middle seat, the best seat in the house, and now cost you a couple dollars more. What's your take on that?
$20.
Probably will be $20 to sit right dead in the middle.
I'm just gonna sit around it. Well, first of all, I haven't been to a movie in like forever.
So I only go to the movies when it's like a good movie out, like Ant-Man. I might go to the movies to see that. I heard Knock at the Cabin was good. The M. Night Shyamalan movie.
It's like my desire to go to a movie theater is so low, like so incredibly low.
It's funny because there's gonna be like classism in movie theaters. You're gonna look at the people down in front of the screen like peons and peasants.
In your middle seat, look at all the poors around me.
The poor people down there sitting in the $10
They couldn't
seats.
afford this middle seat with this large popcorn and soda. You can just throw popcorn on them.
When you sit in those seats in the middle area, you're gonna feel like king of the theater.
Exactly. Like when you finish watching your movie, pick up your popcorn and drink, spike it on the ground, and then leave. Get your full money's worth. Like you gonna clean up after me. I ain't pay for the seat for nothing.
Yeah. Any other things in the next 4 minutes?
What do you want to talk about, Papa Dre's?
I saw Moonfall. It was on HBO Max. So Moonfall is essentially a movie about how the moon is coming out of its orbit and how it affects the Earth. It's made by the same person who did like all those other disaster movies, like The Day After Tomorrow or Day Before Tomorrow, whatever that was, and then 2012, and then Independence Day. So the movie was like, it turned into something completely different from what I thought it was. I thought it was just like the moon, something normal happening, but it wasn't. It was aliens.
Oh damn! Was it good?
It's not the worst. It's not the worst thing I've seen. The ideas of it are like wild. So maybe it's worth seeing just for that. Basically, the spoilers is that the moon, we were all sent to the Earth by our ancestors, who from another galaxy, because their AI overtook them. And as a means for humanity to restore itself, they created different moons to send throughout the galaxy, but only one prevailed, which is our moon. So our moon is actually called a megastructure, which means it has like rock around it, but on the inside, it is powered by like a dwarf sun. And inside of it is just all this technology, and basically it's like an ark, you know, like Noah's Ark. The moon is basically an ark that has all this stuff in it.
Okay.
So basically that AI looks kind of like a swarm. So it's just like flying around, and it's trying to just wipe out humanity because, you know, computers go evil when they have AI. And so it drilled into the moon, and by drilling into the moon, it knocked the moon off its axis. So when it's off its axis, it's just destroying the Earth.
Damn.
So basically the whole movie.
See Halle Berry?
Yeah, Halle Berry's in it, and this and this other guy who's been in a bunch of movies. But I mean, some of the dialogue's terrible. Like, there's a scene where, like, because the moon is so close, gravity's affected. I don't know if that's true in the world, but one of the characters was like, one guy was stuck underneath a tree, and then the girl that was going to help him, she's like, the moon's going to help us, as she lifted up the tree.
The moon's gonna help us. And then lifts up.
Yeah, it lifts the tree off.
She should have lifted it with like one hand.
It was a silly movie. I mean, it failed hardcore, and I was reading up on it because this is wild. And the director was like, if this movie does well, I've got plans for 2 or 3 more sequels that are even crazier than this. I'm like, bro, you ain't gonna make anything. This thing failed. Keep those ideas to yourself.
Yeah, I guess you don't recommend it, but it is interesting. I
mean, I would recommend seeing it, knowing that it's not a great movie, but it has like insane ideas. That's all I can say. It has crazy ideas, and it has like a budget. Sometimes the CG is a bit like not great, like not terrible, but you can tell it's CG. I mean, if you got free time, leave it on, and then you'll see like ridiculous things. Also, a lot of people die. A lot of people get wrecked. So if you like seeing movies where people die hilarious ways, you know, this is part of it. Maybe it's for you.
Well, yeah, I'm about to get back to work, so.
Until next time.
So next time, this is Wadi, Papa Dre's, and Sun God from Gamerbloo. Talk to y'all soon. Take care. Peace.
Peace.